Hey everyone, I'm Moshtaba. In this video, I'm going to show you a technique that'll help you quickly spot most anti-debug and anti-VM methods in programs. Now, I should mention, this approach is pretty general and mostly useful for a quick initial analysis. It might not cover every single method out there, but it's a great starting point. First, let me give you a super quick explanation of what dynamic binary instrumentation actually is, and how a tool like Intel Pin works. Think of an executable file for your computer, like a recipe for cooking. The CPU reads and executes it line by line, just like a chef following a recipe step by step to get the dish ready. So, what does a tool like Pin do? Let's stick with that cooking analogy. In this case, Pin is like someone reading the recipe out loud to the main chef, and the chef cooks based on what they hear. Now this person can also add any changes they want to the dish, by saying whatever they like as if it were part of the original recipe. Or, for example, they can carefully figure out exactly how the recipe works behind the scenes. Alright, now that we've covered Pin, you might be wondering, what does Tiny Tracer do here? Tiny Tracer basically tries to extract the interesting and useful parts of that recipe and point them out to us. For example, a program might run thousands of lines of code that aren't even worth looking into. Tiny Tracer logs things like which APIs were called, or any anti-debug related code, CPU ID instructions, or really anything you ask it to track. Okay, I think that's enough explaining. Let's jump in and learn it hands-on. I have a game here that can tell when a debugger is present, so let's see how it works. You can see that the program detects when a debugger is present. Now we want to install Tiny Tracer. On the GitHub page, you can find the full instructions. First, download Pin from Intel's website. After extracting the files, place the folder in your C drive and rename it to just Pin. You can also use this tool inside Visual Studio and with other tools like IDA as well. You'll notice that Pin itself comes with plenty of examples to help you build your own tools. And the great news is, all of these tools are open source. So you can even feed the code to an AI and ask it to generate a custom tool just for you. They've even included an example project to make it super easy for you to get started. You can open that project in Visual Studio and build it yourself. It will generate a DLL that Pin will later use as its tool. Alright, now all we have to do is download Tiny Tracer. And hey, don't forget to give that project a star. We'll grab the latest release, extract the files into the Tools folder, and rename the folder to Tiny Tracer. Now, the source code is here, but they haven't included the DLL file. No worries though, we can easily build it ourselves using Visual Studio. Now that the DLL is built, we copy it into the Install folder. This folder makes it really easy to install Tiny Tracer. Just keep in mind, if your platform was set to x64 when you built it, make sure to add 64 to the end of the DLL name. Also, for even easier use, you can add the program to your right-click context menu. Alright, congratulations, Tiny Tracer is now installed. Let's give it a try and see how it works. Great, you can see it's logged a bunch of useful info, like where direct syscalls happened in the code, or which APIs were called. Those addresses written at the start of each line are RVAs, by the way. This way, you can get a lot more insight into what the code is doing. With traditional tracing methods using x64DBG, things were painfully slow. This method is way faster. But still, this information alone isn't quite enough. For example, I still can't quite understand how the anti-debug system works. Luckily, Tiny Tracer can detect a wide range of anti-debug and anti-VM techniques. You just need to enable them in the settings. Right here, you can tell it exactly what you want it to log. Now look, it's logging way more details. It explains everything beautifully. It even provides a link with a thorough explanation for each technique it finds. Normally, the program would detect something and just close itself. But with these new settings, the program runs all the way through successfully, and we can even ask TinyTracer to log even more data. Here you can see just how many pieces of code it found that could be used for anti-debugging. You could easily build your own tool, for example, like the one for dirty dancing we saw in previous videos. Or, you could feed all this information to an AI and ask it to analyze everything for you. Anyway, I really hope this tutorial was helpful and that you enjoyed it.